Is Kyra Smith, and this is my career choice presentation. This is a little bit about me, but I'm just going to pick a couple of bullet points here. A couple of things. I'm really interested and passionate about learning about true crime, and I'm really passionate about dogs and children. I chose to become a kindergarten teacher because, like I said before, I really love kids. Also, the time off that it has will allow me to spend time with my family in the future that I really want to do. My parents didn't get to spend a lot of time with me growing up, so that's something I'm really important about. I'm also really passionate about making a difference and promoting kindness and caring, so I feel like the best place for me to do that is going to be in a classroom setting. This is my career path. I want to graduate in 3 years or less. However, I realize that that may not be realistic given that I do work full time. I would like to get certified in 4, get hired in 5, and start teaching that same year. Again, I realize that may not be realistic with my work schedule, but that's what I really want right now. This is the average career salary in California. That's where I live right now. I was a little bit shocked because the starting average pay, which is that middle one that you see there, is less than what I make now as a shift lead at Starbucks. So that was a little bit shocking for me. But I think that long term, this is more what I want to do. Like long term, I really do want to teach, and it is something I'm passionate about. So I'm willing to take the pay cut for a couple years, and I can always supplement that with stipends, which is that third bullet point that you see there. Career skills, the things that I really think that you need are going to be patience, creativity, and organization. For patience, little kids have big emotions and little bodies to express them with, so you really need to be patient in helping them understand their emotions. Creativity, it is essential to not only be able to create lesson plans that are fun and be able to create places for kids to express themselves, but also to be able to kind of understand kiddish, which is, when they don't know quite how to express themselves, so they say things to get from point A to point B that end up at point A, point 1, point A, point 2, and you need to be able to follow them. So it does take a little bit of creativity to think outside the box there. And organization is super important, not only with like your physical stuff, like papers and kids' artwork, but also with your digital schedule, like parent meetings, teacher meetings. How are you going to get all that organized? So I think that's really important. Career traits, to me, the 3 most important are going to be kindness, firmness, and strength. Obviously, like I said earlier, I'm really passionate about kindness, and I really want to promote kindness in my classroom. And I think it's really important to do that so that we can help to stop the growth of implicit bias. I know that it's going to be something that is still prevalent in our society in the future, but if we can teach our kids to work with a kind and open heart, I really think that we can limit how much implicit bias has a hold on our kids. Firmness, not every child is going to need a firm hand, and not every kid is going to need a kind hand, but you are going to need to be firm about your boundaries and expectations in your classroom. That's how little kids respond the best to stuff like that. They don't respond nice to screaming or yelling, but if you tell them what and why, usually in my experience, they tend to just go for it. And strength, I know we don't really talk about it, but as a teacher, you are required to be a mandated reporter for situations. So it is going to be really hard when kids tell you things that are really upsetting about their home life, even if it isn't a mandated reporter situation. It might hurt your heart a little bit, because if you're like me, I know you're really going to care about these kids. And then benefits, like I mentioned earlier, time off. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my parents, and I really want to be able to take my kids on vacations and spend time with them and do things with them every day. So I think that time off is one of the biggest ones for me. The second one is going to be interaction with kids. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm super passionate about kids and I love children. So I feel like being able to interact with them on a daily basis is just going to make my heart so happy. And I think a really underrated benefit of this career is going to be the ability to decorate our classrooms. I really think that the way your classroom expresses itself will say something about how safe children will feel in your classroom. And for me, that'll be putting up characters in places that they feel like they can really relate to, whether that be like cartoon characters and Disney characters, or places from books that we've read that they really like. The challenges of this career are going to be parents. Parents are super passionate about how their kids are raised. So I know in my head, I'm going to have to kind of keep that mental bias out of there of like, oh, they're just coming at me, but it's really because they're passionate and they want the best for their kids. So I know that's the place that I'm going to struggle the most with implicit bias, but it'll be worth it when I'm willing to overcome it and communicate with these parents in a really meaningful and helpful way. Creating content for students that is not only engaging but fun and educational, but also follow standards, I know is going to be something I struggle with. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, those mandated reporter situations, and especially in those situations, trying to calm your implicit biases and your biases in general, and just assess the situation for what it is, whether that child is actually in danger or whether the kid is just trying to express themselves. Some important information. For my state of California, your credentialing requirement requires at least 600 hours of work in actual classrooms. Stipends are a really good way to kind of help supplement money that you may not be getting otherwise. Supplies are things I might have to purchase by myself, which might take a little hit on my money and the things I'm able to do with my family, but I think it'll be worth it to have a classroom that is really helpful for my children. And then online tools. A lot of teachers will share things like their lesson plans and online tools through like their own shops or Etsy. And also TikTok is a really great way to interact with other teachers and see what they've got going on in their classrooms. And then finally, I'm super passionate about children and I'm really interested in learning about how people think. So I really can't wait to work with them every day and just see how their beautiful brains work and overcome challenges in everyday life. And I cannot wait to experience everything in my future career. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great semester.